So let's read. Quiet the mind. Let it be still. Do not expect being still to be a time of thoughtlessness. Thoughtlessness may come upon you, but it will not come upon you through your effort. You cannot make thoughtlessness. You can only make thoughts about thoughtlessness, and that is not thoughtlessness. When I ask you to be still, I am not asking you to be thoughtless. I am merely asking that you allow a stillness or restfulness into your mind as well, and that you put your will or willingness with the stillness. As you do this, thoughts may still arise, but they cannot interrupt your will unless you choose to allow them to do so. Now, this is interesting. I'm going to grab my notebook. As some of you may know, I had a little chat with the inner guide this morning. And I'm not going to go over that entire chat now unless my guidance changes and I feel to. But right now I only feel to look at the first thing that the inner guide told me this morning. When I sat down this morning with Spirit, with the inner guide, I saw that my mind was busy with some thoughts. And my mind has been a little more busy, to be honest, in the last couple of weeks or so. So this is something that's been occurring. There's been a busyness in my mind. And so this morning I sat down with Spirit with this busyness in my mind, and I simply said, what may be helpful now? That was my question. I like to ask open-ended questions so I don't put any limits on the guidance I may receive. So I asked, what may be helpful now? And I was told, are you ready? Relax. When you relax the temptation to judge. You relax the temptation to fear. You relax and rest into me, which allows the opportunity for my guidance to step in, where ego's guidance may have been leading a second ago. All right? So it's very interesting. As I received this guidance this morning, I remembered during my first year of listening to Spirit that I used to always receive the guidance, relax. And in fact, during the course of my day, the most common guidance I would hear in my mind is relax. It's so simple. Relax. I wonder if we recognize how often we aren't relaxed. Let's imagine that I have all these thoughts in my mind, some kind of fear. Let's imagine that I have a fear of rejection. Let's imagine that I have an appointment with someone, and it's very important to me that this someone approve of me. You know, whether that's a date type of appointment or a job interview type of appointment, or, you know, I'm meeting my significant other's parents for the first time. It doesn't matter. I'm meeting someone, and it's important to me that this person approves of me. And my mind is filled with thoughts about why they probably won't, right? I don't think when we're paying attention to those thoughts that we notice that we aren't at all relaxed. And Spirit's first guidance to me, often in my first year with the Course, this morning, and in this particular message, was simply relax. Relax. And what Spirit said this morning is, when you relax, you allow the opportunity for my guidance to come in, where a moment ago, ego's guidance was leading. Right? Relax. Well, here Holy Spirit's using a different word, he's talking about stillness or restfulness. But listen again to the second paragraph. When I ask you to be still, I am not asking you to be thoughtless. And in fact, what he told us in the first paragraph is we cannot be thoughtless through our effort. We cannot make thoughtlessness happen. So many of us know that when our mind is spinning and spinning, that we can't just say, okay, I'm going to let go of these thoughts and they're gone, right? And Spirit's recognizing that too, that depending on our skill, depending on our readiness, we may not be able to just let go of thoughts and go to a still, thoughtless mind. But that doesn't mean we have to stay with the experience of a spinning mind, right? He says, when I ask you to be still, I am not asking you to be thoughtless. I am merely asking that you allow a stillness or restfulness into your mind as well. If we stop and notice when the thoughts are spinning, whatever the thoughts are, the fear of rejection or whatever, if we stop and notice, we will notice that that is probably all that is going on. We are not allowing a stillness or restfulness as well. We're not relaxing too. In other words, we've completely blocked out Spirit. We're not even allowing a crack for which Spirit to come in. And don't forget, of course, that we are the free Son of God. Free is the key word here. Free. If we are not allowing even a crack for Spirit to come in, Spirit cannot come in. Spirit cannot coerce itself upon us. So if we have tightly sealed ourself by being completely consumed by spinning thoughts, we are not allowing the opportunity for guidance. So what does Spirit ask us to do? Relax. Rest. Allow some stillness too, right? Take a breath. Pause for a second. Give me a crack. Give me a crack. Allow some room in your mind, in your beingness, for me too. Again, starting with the second paragraph. When I ask you to be still, I am not asking you to be thoughtless. I am merely asking that you allow a stillness or restfulness into your mind as well. All right? And that you put your will or willingness with the stillness. Okay? So my mind is spinning and spinning, right? Fear of rejection with this person that I'm going to be meeting. It's very important to me that they approve of me, and I've got this fear, they won't. And then I remember this guidance. So I relax. I take a breath. I rest. Now there are two things in my mind where a second ago there was one. A second ago there was fear and worry. Now there's also this little bit of rest. I took a breath. Now Spirit is telling me where to focus my attention or my willingness. Instead of focusing my attention on the story, focus my attention on the rest. Give my willingness, my attention, to the part of me that is beginning to rest. And we all know, I think we've learned at one point or another, that what we give our attention to or what we give our focus to expands. So if I've allowed in a little bit of rest, a little bit of relax, a little bit of stillness, a little bit of breathing, and then I begin to focus my attention on that, although the story may still be going on in one part of my mind, my attention is now turning to the stillness. My attention is now turning to the rest, which also means my attention is now turning to Spirit and to the opportunity for guidance. So again, second paragraph. When I ask you to be still, I am not asking you to be thoughtless. I am merely asking that you allow a stillness or restfulness into your mind as well, and that you put your will or willingness with the stillness. As you do this, thoughts may still arise, but they cannot interrupt your will unless you choose to allow them to do so. So, as a thought seems to knock on the door of your mind and say, "Please come out and play with me," all you must do is say, "Not right now. I want to be still." Now, I got to be honest, I have practiced this so many times I could not even begin to count. You know, in those times when the mind is spinning, right, that's the starting point, spin, 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 spin. I go sit in my chair and I relax. And I focus on the stillness, the relaxation in me, right? And if you guys are anything like me, you know that I sit there for a minute maybe, if I'm lucky, in this place of relax. And then the story starts to come back into the head, right? What's important when the story starts to come back into the head is for us not to let all of our attention go back to the story. So Spirit gives us an image, at least an image that was helpful to me. This thought is like knocking on the door. The story is like knocking on the door, saying, hey, you want to pay attention to me again? Remember that fear of rejection we have? Let's think about that again. And Spirit has me answer that invitation, that opportunity by saying, "Not right now. I want to be still." And I return my attention to the stillness. And I got to tell you that for me, this works. Right? I may be still for another 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. I suppose it depends on the day. But then the thoughts start coming in again, right? But then I can say again, no, not right now. I want to be still. So every time the thoughts knock on the door and give me the invitation to return my attention to them, I just say, no, not right now. I want to be still. Spirit continues with the 4th paragraph. Another thought may come along and ask you to play. And another, and another. But all you need do is listen to the stillness as you wave them away. You can listen to the stillness as you wave the thoughts away, just as you can listen to music as you wave a thought away. Right? Now, I used to practice with Resta Burnham's music. There would be a song that was absolutely perfect for me now, for what I was going through, for what I was looking at, right? And so what I would do is I would start listening to that song very carefully. But what also happened is somewhere during the song, my mind would start to wander, and I would not be listening to Resta's song anymore. But as soon as I noticed that, as soon as I noticed, wait a minute, I wasn't listening to the song, I would start the song over and I would begin again. And I would practice returning my attention to Resta's song until I was able to listen to the entire song without once having my mind go away. And so I think that is why Holy Spirit is using this particular example. When Holy Spirit says you can listen to the stillness as you wave the thoughts away, just as you can listen to music as you wave a thought away, right? It's just a matter of determination, a matter of wanting in the beginning to listen to Resta's song bad enough, and now wanting to listen to the stillness bad enough, right? I can do the same thing. The thought may come, but I can say, wait a minute, I want to listen to the stillness and return my attention to the stillness. I don't even have to start the stillness over like I did the song. I can just rejoin it in the middle. Holy Spirit continues. Enjoying the stillness in this way is important because it teaches you what you want. And to me, that's not a small sentence. You see, one thing that I'm very aware of, and in fact it's a thought that's occurred to me a lot in the last couple of weeks while my mind has been a little louder. One thing that I'm very aware of is that if I am listening to the thoughts in the mind, if I'm listening to the spinning, it's because I want to, right? Remember, I'm the free Son of God. Nothing can make me listen to thoughts that I don't want to listen to. So if I'm listening to whatever my mind is talking about, it's because I want to. Well, what Spirit is saying is if we begin the practice of listening to the stillness, what we're going to find is how that makes us feel. You know, A Course in Miracles tells us that the Holy Spirit teaches through contrast. As we learn to listen to the stillness, and we learn the deep peace, the security, the feeling of restfulness that comes from listening to the stillness, and then we accidentally allow our mind to get caught up in the spinning again, but we experience that, the fear, the worry, the stress, the tension, right, the guilt. What begins to happen is we begin to learn from that contrast. We begin to learn that we don't really want to listen to the mind. What we really want is to listen to the stillness. And as we begin to truly learn this lesson, then what happens is we start being more willing to turn our attention away from the thinking mind and into the stillness. Because we begin to be aware that the stillness is what I want. It is my true heart's desire. So enjoying the stillness in this way is important because it teaches you what you want. Your heart and mind drinks from the stillness as if it is the water of life, because it is. And anyone who has learned to enjoy the stillness knows this is true, right? When we take the time to be still, our heart and mind drinks from the stillness as if it is the water of life, because it is, right? It's magnificent. Holy Spirit continues. As you drink of the water of life, you learn that the thoughts which would distract you from this water are not your total interest. As you learn they are not your total interest, they lose the commanding stature they have had in your mind until now. It is as if the volume is turned down on them, and they become less important to you. They become less important to you. It's as easy as, that's not what I want. I want stillness. Right? It's not hard to let go of something when we've learned we don't want it. It's not hard to let go of something when we've learned we don't want it. Holy Spirit continues. As you go into the stillness day after day after day and drink of the water of life, the distractors that held your attention become even less important. They may still clamor for your attention, but the volume has become so low that it is much easier to dismiss them without consideration. You are no longer interested in their I can't say this word. Raucousness, is that the way you say it? Their loudness. You are no longer interested in their raucousness. Your heart is with the stillness. And it is the stillness you follow throughout your day. So, to me, this is a very positive, hopeful message.